All right, so today we return to Bee Swarm Simulator, not really for another part in our Noob to Pro series, but to answer a question that I seem to be getting a lot, not only in my comment section like this one, but also in my DMs, which honestly, I didn't think I had to make this video because I feel like this is already sort of like publicly known information and stuff that pretty much the Bee Swarm community taught me. But it seems like a lot of you are interested in seeing what kind of settings I have for my macro, because for some odd reason, I seem to be making a lot more than people that are around my level or that have even my same exact setup. So at the start of the video here, I'm going to explain to you guys how to sort of get your hands on this entire macro. Not going to spend too much time on it, just going to kind of explain it really quickly. And then we'll spend a little more time on my actual settings, which is really what a lot of you have been asking for. So let's go ahead and start off with the elephant in the room here. And that is, what macro do I use? The answer to that is pretty much the same one that everybody uses throughout this community. And that is Natro macro. On the screen right now, you can see basically the entire GUI for the macro. And to be more specifically, on the bottom right hand corner, I am running version 1.0.0.2, this being the most recent version of the macro. In the description down below, I will have a link directly to their Discord server, so that way you guys can join. You don't even need to verify in the server or anything. Just click on Natro macro, and then right here, it was posted 07/27/2024 at 10 p.m. Click on direct download. This pop-up is going to come out. You can go ahead and choose your own opinion on this. Personally, I have it downloaded, so I feel like it's safe. And to be honest, I've had this downloaded on my computer for years, since before I actually used to play back in like 2018, 2019, and I never actually deleted it. All I had to do was sort of update it when I came back recently. Once you go ahead and click continue on that, it will basically bring up the download menu, and you basically just download it, and that's pretty much it. You're good to go. You just basically open up the folder, run the start.bat, and you're good. That's pretty much it. This menu will go ahead and pop up, and you can set up the entire macro to do whatever you want. That being gather, collect and kill, boost, quest, planters, everything of that sort. Now, honestly, the very first thing that you want to go ahead and do once you download this is probably go into the settings section, figure out what your movement speed is without any haste whatsoever. Haste being obviously the little guy that's running up here. Just basically run around in circles for just a little bit until this drops down, or until you don't have pretty much anything, not even science fair or anything of that sort. Go into your system, scroll down a little bit, look for move speed, and check to see what the number is right here. Again, mine says 40.5 because I do have a lot of different haste activated right now. Once you put that in, the next thing I would recommend is figure out how many bees you have, type that in right there. Change the wait time to 1 second. Personally, that works for me. You might have to play around with this a little bit. And then obviously choose the Hive slot that you want to go ahead and macro on. Something that's really important and a little confusing at first when you first start using this is the setup of how the Hive slots are. So the way that it counted is number 1 is over here on the far right hand side. I know that a lot of people, including myself, sort of assume that number 1 would be that one over there, but no, that one's actually number 6. So just be aware that you are putting the correct Hive slot, or else you're going to have a lot of resets and your character will be walking further distances for no reason. Once you've done all of that, you pretty much have everything completely set up. The only other thing that I would maybe say to sort of play around with is right underneath the character speed. Make sure that for the sprinkler type, you're putting whatever sprinkler it is that you have, whether it be a diamond sprinkler, a golden sprinkler, silver, whatever, supreme. Just make sure that you have the correct one there, because if not, you won't really be getting the full potential. Now, aside from that, everything else on this menu is sort of up to you. You can go ahead and do whatever you want with it. Now let's move into the good stuff. If you guys notice, I currently am running somewhat of a custom pattern. When you download the macro, it is going to have a couple of presets already in here. Basically, every single one that I'm showing here on the list, except for the Kirara Tide Shift. To get your hands on this is extremely simple. Come back to the Natro macro Discord server here, where I told you guys before to click to download the macro. Go down 1, 2, 3, where it says macro patterns. And this is going to be pretty much a full list of a bunch of different custom macros that there is currently available. The one that I'm specifically using is the 4th one down, called Kirara Tide Shift right here. Once you go ahead and click on it, it's going to open this thread on the right hand side. It's going to have a couple of specific things that you need to have in order to be able to use this pattern. So if you don't meet these requirements, I do not suggest that you go ahead and use this. But if you just so happen to actually meet all of these requirements, then just go ahead down here and download the AHK file. At this point, you go back to the folder where you have the start.bat, go to the patterns folder, and just go ahead and drop that AHK file inside of here, and you're good to go. Once you relaunch the macro program, you will go ahead and have it listed here under patterns, and then you're going to want to make a couple of different changes. More specifically, the length, change it to M, width to 5, rotate camera to left, and 4. This is extremely important, or else you will not be able to go ahead and use this. It's going to sort of break and you'll just fall out of the field regardless if you have drift comp or not, which is actually recommended to not have drift comp on. On top of that, you're going to go ahead and change this to 10, 95, and 2 Hive by walk. Sprinkler, upper left, distance 7. And that's pretty much it. You're good to go on the gathering portion to have it exactly the way that I run mine. For the collect section, it's completely up to you. Personally, I only run clock. I don't run ant. I don't know why that is activated, so ignore that portion. But clock, glue, stocking, and honey wreath, those are the only ones that I run. Over on the kill side, I run absolutely nothing. For boost, again, I'm a blue Hive, so I do run blue field boost. You can do this or you can choose not to do it. It's completely up to you. If you do decide to actually use this, make sure that you click on select boosted gather fields. Disable pretty much everything except for blue flower and pine tree. In the case that you don't have a fuzzy bee, I would suggest not to go ahead and use blue flower. Just leave it to only pine tree. But again, it's completely up to you guys. I'm just showing you what I'm personally running. Now we're skipping over the quest section because I don't actually use the quest section at all. In theory, I would be using the polar bear one, but unfortunately that portion is broken in the macro system. They haven't pushed out an update for that yet to get it fixed, so it will eventually break over time. So I just decide not to use any of the quest features. Over here for my planters, I currently have enabled plastic candy, blue clay, red clay, tacky, and pesticide. On the left hand side over here, comforting 90%, motivating 90%, satisfying 90%, refreshing 60%, and invigorating 40%. At the bottom here, it says harvest every 2 hours. I usually have that set to 1. Every single time that you shut down the macro and relaunch it again, you will have to switch this back to 1 hour. Reason for this is because by default, it will go to 2 hours. Now, aside from that, man, that's pretty much everything that I use. Now, I'm going to go ahead and disable this right here so that I can show you guys sort of like a quick little test run. Let me turn all of this stuff off. So to get started with it, we press F1. The mouse is going to go to the top left-hand side. It's going to reset, travel back to our hive. It'll normally wait a couple of seconds, especially right after you reset, so that way all of your bees can come back. And actually, in my case here, it's going ahead and converting because of the fact that we have a little bit of pollen inside of our balloons. But there we go. It is now on the move. It's going to take the cannon and make its way to do the entire cycle all over again. Ideally, I should have turned this off, but basically it's going to go check out the clock, make sure that everything is good there, which actually I needed the clock, so that's good. Then it's going to make its way over to the stocking. That is also good. It will go ahead and collect everything in there. And then it should from this point on reset and make its way to gathering. I don't think it's going to check glue or not, but hopefully it doesn't. We'll definitely know here really quick. It's going to take the cannon again. And yeah, it's going straight back to gathering. At this point, it's going to go ahead and land, make its way over to the corner right underneath the tree over here. It'll lock your camera and face towards the hives. Then it's going to do a E format over and over again, and it'll cycle through this until it goes ahead and does a reverse E format. And that's pretty much it, man. It does that over and over and over again all night long. As you can tell on the top, I'm currently at 22.4 trillion. And that's mainly because yesterday I pretty much did it the entire day. I didn't really play much. Now, on an hourly basis, I'm making anywhere between 500 billion all the way to as high as 645 billion. Let me go ahead and turn this off here because we're actually going to be doing a little bit of something else. Now we're back over here inside of my Discord server because I'm actually going to show you guys another portion of this that's a little more on the advanced side, but it's extremely simple once you start looking over everything inside of the macro itself. But basically you can go ahead and webhook your entire macro to being inside of a Discord server, and it'll update you constantly on everything that the macro is doing. Then every single hour on the hour, it'll go ahead and print out these reports for you. So if you look on the top right hand side, this macro was running for about 3 hours and 53 minutes. At the time, I had 19 trillion honey, and just in 3 hours and 53 minutes, we made about 2 trillion. Then if you look up here at the top, for this specific hour, I earned 622.8 billion honey with an hourly average of about 524 billion. So just to sort of prove to you guys that that is how much I'm actually making, since I know that some people will be asking, if we go ahead and scroll down a little bit further here, we should see another report right here. So at this time, I had 19.7 trillion. Session time is 4 hours and 53 minutes. We had made 2.6 trillion throughout the entire session. And for this one, we did 646 billion honey. Now, before I went ahead and started, I actually started to run the macro for just like a couple minutes. I don't even know how long it was. 3 minutes I ran it for. And in those 3 minutes, we made 3.5 billion. So it just so happened that it was at the very top of the hour. So we were able to get a report. And then if we keep scrolling down, you'll notice that this is the one that I was just running for an example throughout the video recording. And here at the top of the hour, it shows that we made 1.4 billion in that short period of time, which was 2 minutes and 49 seconds. So yeah, man, a lot of you have been asking me how it is that I go ahead and make so much. Obviously, it was no secret that I was macroing, but what I guess was the secret and something that a lot of you wanted to know about was what exact settings I was running. So I figured, why not? Let's go ahead and answer the question. In the event that you're actually curious what I have in my Hive, this is basically it right here. Let me move my bees out of the way so you can take a look, pause the video. That is exactly how I have everything set up. Over here on the left-hand side, you'll notice I'm running 16 buoyants and 11 tadpoles. Still, unfortunately, running that cobalt, but, you know, we'll eventually change that out. I don't know when, but at some point I will. The blue instant conversion isn't really bothering me that much, but I know that I could be probably making a lot more if I didn't have it. But yeah, man, hopefully this video goes ahead and helps you guys out. Let me know in the comments what kind of results you guys get if you do end up using these exact same settings. Tomorrow, we should be back to our regular Noob to Pro series. And obviously, by the time that you guys see me tomorrow, I will either be level 16 still, or I will be level 17. I won't put you guys through the misery of watching me do every single one of these one by one right now to level 16. So no worries on that. With all of that being said, man, we're going to go ahead and end off the video here. Like always, I will see you guys in the next one. Oh, and also, shout out to every single one of you that have been reaching out to me and wanting to join my server, especially those of you that are blue hives. You're more than welcome. Feel free to join my Discord server and send me a DM. We got space for 3 more blue hives, preferably over level 15. But that's going to do it for this video. Like always, I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.